Hello, this is Arielle, the Inconspicuous Bear, and I'll be narrating the 10-man version of the General Nazgrim encounter in the Siege of Orgrimmar from a Guardian point of view. From a tanking perspective, this encounter is kind of like a giant joke. There's barely anything that threatens you, like, ever. I mean ever. There's hardly anything you have to do to help the raid get through the encounter. Mostly you're just DPS, and you're glorified DPS pretty much the entire encounter. So, I don't know, I find it kind of boring. Like, this encounter is incredibly boring as a tank. But you still have to kill it, and you get a tier piece, so there's that at least. As a tank, the primary thing you'll need to be worrying about is an ability called Sundering Blow. This deals a whack of physical damage, and sunders your armor, just like the ability, or the warrior ability, Sunder Armor. So it reduces your armor by 10% for 3 seconds, and then stacks. Now, the thing about Sundering Blow is that the higher number of stacks you have on you, the more range Nazgrim gains from hitting you. And of course, Nazgrim powers his specials using rage, just like a warrior. So the whole point of the encounter is to avoid him getting a whole bunch of rage and spamming the arena with Ravagers. So you want to taunt. The first time is when your first tank reaches 3 stacks, and then every other time after that is whenever your stacks fall off. You don't want to try and taunt early, because it's possible that you'll taunt like literally a split second before your stacks fall off, which is right when he's going to use Sundering Blow, so then it refreshes you at 4, which just causes all sorts of problems. Obviously, it's totally recoverable, but having to deal with that is something you'd just really rather not worry about, basically. So, yeah, taunt when your stacks fall off, otherwise, you don't need to just cool down or anything, it's damage that happens. You're a bear, you have tons of armor, it doesn't matter. A little bit earlier I mentioned that Nazgrim uses special abilities that cost rage. The most common one of those you'll see is something called Heroic Leap. Basically leaps to target. He'll never actually leap on a tank. I mean, he'll always leap on someone else that's away from the fight, so usually arranged. But the thing you have to be worried about with Heroic Leap is he cracks the ground, and then aftershocks happen. Aftershocks deal 400,000 damage to anyone that gets caught in them. Now, it's totally possible for this to appear under your feet or nearby or what have you. So you want to make sure that you're just not standing in them. They're really obvious. They're big, bright orange lines in the ground. Stay out of them. The second and third most common abilities you encounter are called War Banner and War Song. You can't really do anything about either of these. One is just spawns a totem banner thing that you just kill. And the second one is a bunch of AoE physical damage to the entire raid. Neither of which bother you pretty much any. So I haven't really bothered to go into detail on them here. The last one is called Ravager. He basically spawn an axe, which then starts spinning around the arena. Stay out of it. That's basically almost entirely it. For positioning, you can start him actually in the middle of the room, closer to the back, because the first wave of ads doesn't include a shaman, so he's not in any danger of getting healed. Plus, that makes it easier for melee DPS to bounce from the ads back onto the boss. But once War Shaman starts spawning, you'll be taking him closer to the elevator to prevent the shamans from getting close enough to heal him for any sort of reasonable amount. In terms of tanking items, he doesn't hit nearly hard enough to justify the tanking cloak, so definitely go with the DPS cloak on this one. And you could probably get away with just using the DPS meta, to be honest. However, whether or not you have a viable helm option to swap the DPS meta into, I don't know. But just saying that DPS meta is a totally valid option for this fight, because he does basically no damage, and there's no sort of dying to be worried about pretty much ever. For talents, the Tier 1 talent, recommend Feline Swiftness. There's no charging to be done to any target, really, because the swaps don't last long enough for you to be able to grab the ads and do anything appreciable to them, which wouldn't possibly cause future problems anyway. Tier 2 talent, renewal is pretty much worthless. You're never going to take enough damage to justify it. You could theoretically get some sort of use of a Snaring Ward, but it's really hard to plan because people generally don't take any raid damage except when there's ads out or there's a war song coming, both of which can be handled by your healers just fine anyway. So I'd pretty much just go with the Sarah's Gift. In terms of Tier 3, Feline Swarm and Entanglement are worthless. Go with Typhoon. Tier 4, Incarnation or Soul of the Forest. Trees are worthless. Tier 5, Vortex or Bash, depending on what you need. Bash functions really well as a secondary interrupt on a War Shaman if it gets close enough, or too close for comfort, I guess. Vortex helps with Assassins and the melee warrior spinny guys. Tier 6, German Snars, Nature's Vigil. You're never going to get an opportunity to make max use out of Heart of the Wild without your other tank getting a high number of Sundering Blow stacks. So German Snars or Nature's Vigil are your best options there. In terms of tips or tricks, there isn't anything special a Guardian can do in this fight, and unlike something like Iron Juggernaut where you can use Skull Bash and Charge to get all 3 of the Crawler Mines really easily, here it's basically just to spank and tank. It's really boring, really boring, but hopefully you get it over pretty quick. The only thing I can really say is save your DPS cooldowns for Zerk phase, so like Incarnation or Vigil. Or say if you have Curse of Hubris, save the on-use for Berserker Stance. Other than that, just kill them. Hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned to the channel for the rest of the normal mode video guides, which will be going up over the course of the next week or so. Thanks. Have a good day. Shockwave. Tanking.
D-stance in 7.
Go one more round of ads.
Yeah.
Shockwave.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Shaman, Anarch, Weaver. Solar Beaming.
Tank.
Alright, good, never mind.
Hero.
Already on it.
Watch it. Tanking. Banner.
Say deal with that Shaman.
Just got fucked by a war shaman.
He's dead.
Yellow swag.
It's dead.
Oh, and I'm dead. Oh, whatever. I'll just onk. We're done for tonight anyway.
Oh.